my evaluator, Lee Adams, guest and fellow Toastmasters. In 1973, I graduated from college, and I was truly ecstatic for graduating because I was totally unprepared for college when I first entered it. When I was going to school, I had a number of international friends. One of my friends was from Iran, and at the time of graduation, he wanted to give me a sheet of paper that had his contact information. And I pushed it away, telling him that I would never be going to Iran. I didn't even know where it was on the map. I had never left LA, and so I didn't expect to ever go there. But I did work hard, as I stated, through college, worked since I was 16 on all summers, and I thought I deserved a vacation. So I wanted to take a vacation to my hometown in Italy that I had never visited and vaguely remembered. Actually, I remembered my trip to the United States more than I remembered Italy at the time. I was only 6 years old. I crossed the Atlantic on the Andrea Doria, went through Ellis Island, crossed the United States on rail to LA. And for the people that are a little older, maybe remember the Andrea Doria. It had a little run-in with Stockholm, and now it's at the bottom of the ocean. This occurred a couple months after we came across. Anyway, I went to Italy. Fortunately, my parents were taking some vacation there, and they introduced me to all my relatives and friends. I only hoped to be there for 2 weeks. I ended up being there for 3 months. It was quite a nice place. A little bit of paradise is how I put it. But I came back to the United States not planning to ever go back there as well, or at least not anytime soon. Came back to the United States, looked for a job, got 2 offers. One offer was from JPL, and the other from an engineering construction company, both entry-level engineering jobs. The difference between the 2 jobs was $50. I had no clue as to how I could make a selection, so I went for the $50. So, if I had gone with JPL, I probably would have worked eventually in the electronics field, computer field, Oracle, Microsoft, Apple, all of those companies started about that time. But working for the engineering construction company, I spent 3 years in the engineering office, and the 3rd year I found myself in Iran. At a copper mining project there. I looked for Jarfa, who was my friend in college. Had no way of ever making contact with him. Never made contact with him. Still haven't made contact with him. From 1976 to 1979, I went back and forth between Iran and the United States. I had to leave the country every 4 months. That was one of the requirements. And every time I would stop off in Europe. Every time I could. One time I stopped off in Europe visiting my parents who had retired and were there at the time. And we were invited to a friend's house and for Christmas Eve dinner. And before I left, my parents approached me like they often did, and there was a girl at this dinner, and they wanted to know what I thought of her. My parents wanted me to, of course, marry a nice Italian girl. I always expected to marry a nice American girl because I grew up in California. But this girl had caught my eye, not only this time, but a few other trips in advance. Okay. And before I knew it, I was engaged. 2 years later, I got married. Although all my trips to Italy were, and I made somewhere in the neighborhood of 20, were at company expense, this one was completely on me, including my 12 suitcases that we brought over when we came over. As you can see, that selecting that job was like a fork in my life road. I could have gone one way or the other. If I had gone with JPL, I probably would have married an American girl. I probably would have worked with someone at one of these computer companies. But you can see it affected my life. But it also affected my family's life. My wife, for example, didn't know a word of English when she came here. Got a job in Saudi Arabia with my company for 5 years, and that shaped and formed her. and she became very efficient with English. But my jobs also affected my children. My older daughter has studied in Florence, Italy for a year, and my younger daughter, who is now a junior, will be going to Italy for the year next month. Now, we're also worked in Alaska. In Alaska, of course, you can't bring families or children, especially north of the Arctic Circle. So for my 30th anniversary, I brought my wife on an Alaskan cruise. Alaska is very nice. It's truly a last frontier, and we all enjoyed it. Since my daughter was leaving, we invited her on the trip, and so she shared our cabin. So the 30-year anniversary wasn't quite as romantic as I hoped. So for the people that are in this room, and there was a few at least in the past, that never had gotten their first job, I think this example of mine, maybe not as dramatic, because I've worked with the same company for 35 years, will form and shape your life as well. It's likely that the job that you get, the first job, you'll stay in that same industry, in the same field for the rest of your life. So put a lot of thought into selecting that job, and I wish I had some words of advice. Thank you.